Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, the gift would be suggesting that maybe it could be a better trading session after 6 down days. The ingredients are in place. No fresh negatives is what we have gotten earlier this morning. So let's see how that goes. But we're due for a bounce. Today could probably be the day. But let's talk about stocks. Amnish Aggarwal, the head of research at Prabhudas Lilladher, joins us on the show. Hi, Amnish. Thanks a lot for joining in. I wanted to ask you about Ola Electric. You know, the stock saw a big rally post-listing, and everyone was wondering what's going on, because the stock nearly doubled from where it listed. But now it's back down at around 90 rupees and a lot of problems. Your view on the stock at around 90 rupees, how much of the bad news is in the price?
Yeah, good morning, Nigel. So there are actually spate of news which have been, coming in Ola. And if you look at the numbers of past, 2-3 months in particular, the numbers have not been that encouraging in terms of sales. And now this news of, you can see the frequent problem with vehicles that has been coming. So I believe it is going to a very, very competitive market, as I think we talked last time also, that I believe that all the incumbents, whether it is on the scooter side or the bikes, that they are going to eventually enter this market. But having said that, I think as the stock is approaching close to the listing price, I think it seems more like, you can say, that there could be some trading bounce back, but whether it will give any fundamental, you can say, upside from here, very difficult to say at this point of time, because ultimately your sales have to move up, and you can say all other fundamental aspects have to fall in place, which doesn't seem to be clear at this point of time.
Amnish, hi, great to have you on. I have a more of a tactical question in terms of how to get to the market now in terms of the stocks to buy, and tactical short-term question really, because before the whole China issue hit us and this FPI selling started, there was anyway sector rotation, right? Money was going to IT stocks. There was some play building up on FMCG. So you had to sell out of the CapEx and the PSU space, and there was rotation going on. Then we were bombarded with the entire China issue. Now, if that comes to some sort of a pause today and there is a quick rush to buy India again, tactically, what sort of areas of the market would you get into? Would it be IT ahead of results? Would you look at FMCG? Or do you think money will go back and move to some of the CapEx and PSU plays? Basically, short-term tactical ideas for the market.
Okay. See, what has actually happened is that because the valuations have become quite rich in all the cyclicals, we saw a lot of money flowing into, you can say, IT, telecom, FMCG or consumer in the last 2-3 months. But today the situation is that there's an FI selling, but at the same time, if you look at the entire defensive pack also, whether these are consumer, whether these are, you can say, your IT services or you can say other pockets, the valuation there are also not cheap. Although the stocks there also, they have shown some correction from the peak. But having said that, today the market is actually looking out for some hiding spaces there. So I believe that once the stocks actually better down, maybe a bit in, you can say, IT services, a little bit in pharma, or some bit in consumer. So I think some of these sectors might attract some money, although one has to be very cognizant of the fact that valuations there are also not favorable. But at the same time, I think after a decent cut, even some of the cyclicals, they will actually come into, you can say, come into the light to buy again. But at the same time, I believe that the focus now should be much more on the companies which are having strong balance sheet and the wherewithal to face the current onslaught. So like maybe say a month or two, like you can say just you name the company and then the stock was rising. I think that is not going to be the case, whether it is consumer, whether it is, you can say, capital goods or any other defensives.
Fair enough, Amnish, that's the backdrop. Can you give some names? Because this is a highly complex market, even to trade from a short to medium term, right? It's not a one-way market anymore. So maybe 2-3 names that you're convinced of right now.
Okay, you see, one name we have been very positive about is RIL, because it's having a blend of telecom plus retail, but and it's going a bit into new energy. So one is RIL. The second name we are very positive about is M&M, because in PV it is a fastest growing company today, and even the tractors for them, they are doing very well. And you can say the third stock, if you want to look for, is I think maybe in Bharti Airtel or Titan.
Okay, so RIL, Bharti, Titan, and M&M. Those would be some of the large cap names. Just a word, since you mentioned consumer, Amnish, there's the update that's come in from Godrej, right? So while they're saying their sales guidance and sales expectations are intact, maybe at the EBITDA level it could get challenging because of competitive pressures. What's your sense? We saw what happened to Dabur. What do you like here? What do you dislike? And what's the call on Godrej itself?
You see, if you look at Godrej or any other company, last year, all the consumer companies, particularly on the staple side, had seen very sharp uptick in their margins. And so now, once the volume and the value growth also comes, you will not see the margins expanding from these levels. In fact, I believe that for large number of companies, we might see some bit of margin correction happening in the current year. So given this backdrop, I think it is the profit growth might not be that high as the market was anticipating. So maybe now, maybe you can say prior to the rally which happened. I think what was your next part of the question?
Yeah, so what's the call on Godrej?
Yeah, you see, Godrej, we don't have a formal coverage on the name. But having said that, I think it is among the better ones when it comes to the growth in the entire sector.
Okay, all right, Amnish. Thank you for joining in today. We'll leave it there. Shorter chat, but quite helpful. Thanks for joining in.